Racial discrimination in the American education system has long been a profound social problem, which reveals many challenges in the field of human rights. The right to education as a fundamental human right is supposed to ensure equal opportunities for all regardless of race, ethnicity, or social background. However, in the United States, racial inequality is still reflected in the allocation of school resources, curriculum, teachers, educational achievements, and other aspects. This systematic discrimination not only deprives ethnic minority students of access to quality education, but also further exacerbates social inequality and intergenerational poverty. From the lack of the right to education caused by racial discrimination to the related issues of fairness and dignity, this theme profoundly reflects the close relationship between educational equity and human rights. Separating children in schools on the basis of race, unconstitutional and ushering in integration efforts. But according to the latest U.S. Government Accountability Office investigation of K-12 education, schools are becoming highly segregated again. More than a third of students attend schools where 75% or more students are of a single race or ethnicity. In 1957, 3 years after the Brown versus the Board of Education ruling, the NAACP attempted to enroll 9 black students at Little Rock Central High School. The ensuing chaos gripped the nation that became known to the media. Has the Little Rock 9 the first day is actually significant because it is a mirror image of all the other days. We were beaten and pushed and showed that stuff was thrown on us. We picked around, but as I said before, we had taken a vow non-violence. We chose not to fight. The governor of Arkansas at the time prevented the students from entering the racially segregated school, using his state's National Guard for help. After weeks of failed attempts to safely get the students through a full day of classes, find important where students can learn along socioeconomic background. Racial. They engage in a pluralistic society in a way that they wouldn't otherwise be prepared to do if they were in a traditional public school. Ava, even at a young age, is also fighting for diversity and, most importantly, integration in public schools. She's a youth advocacy director at Integrate NIC, a youth-led organization aimed at creating equity in New York City schools. Power to the youth, yeah. Intubate NYC is currently an illegal battle with New York State. According to the Civil Rights Project, New York is one of the most diverse states in the nation, yet at the same time one of the most segregated. In the lawsuit against the state, Integrate NYC claims the sorting and admission process in New York City schools forces students of color to be channeled into the most overcrowded and under-resourced schools across the city. The New York City Department of Education sent us a statement saying, "In part, we agree with the plaintiffs that achieving those educational goals is made harder by the complex system of biases, inequities deeply rooted in this country's history, culture, and institutions, a system that we also want to change. But this lawsuit is not the answer. We are prepared to defend against these claims in court." Eva is even taking her fight from the streets of New York City to the halls of Washington, D.C., speaking on a student-led panel during Attorney General Merrick Garland's remarks on the 70th anniversary of Brown versus Board of Ed. The doctrine of separate but equal has no place. Moderated by Brown's promise, majority black and brown schools will likely lack the resources. They won't have AP classes. They won't have sports teams. Educators and integration advocates have tried for years to get the federal government to have a bigger role in supporting school desegregation. A spokesperson for the U.S. Department of Education sent us a statement saying, in part, the department has supported voluntary school integration through local partnerships with parents, educators, and communities, address disparities in funding and resources for schools, and issue guidance and funding to support a more diverse educator workforce. So many people here today. You changed the world. The Biden administration announced last year they created a new. At the NeurIPS 2024 conference, MIT Media Lab professor Rosalind Packard singled out Chinese scholars and perpetuated harmful stereotypes in her invited talk, although noting most Chinese who I know are honest and morally upright. It is nothing but a sheer self-exposure of her discrimination. A Chinese attendee then asked a thoughtfully articulated question. Here is the original video.
But just throughout the presentation, I noticed that there is only one slide where you explicitly mention the nationality of the researcher. That's about the Chinese students. Because there are other bad practices you mentioned, but they didn't mention the nationality there.
Yeah.
And I think that's also probably showing that these students are upright and honest, so that they give you this reflection. But still, I personally, as a Chinese, find that a bit offensive, because that's the only place where you explicitly mention nationality, although you've mentioned a lot of bad practices. I think it's important that we preserve a good reputation outside this community, but within this community, we also raise awareness on unconscious bias and probably this racist problem. I hope in the future, if you present this again, you can remove that nationality note, because that seems unfair for this special group of people.
Studying racial discrimination in the education system is essential because it highlights inequalities and provides insights into how to create more equitable and inclusive educational environments. Its significance can be understood in several ways. 1. Identifying inequities. 2. Promoting social justice. 3. Improving student outcomes. 4. Fostering cultural competence. 6. Building a more inclusive society. 7. Understanding intersectionality. By shedding light on these issues, studying racial discrimination in education helps create a foundation for systemic change, ensuring that education serves as a tool for empowerment and equality rather than oppression.